A first reaction to Metallica live in Moscow, 1991. What's going on, guys? So in one of my earlier videos covering Metallica, I spoke about a giant concert that they did in Russia to 500,000 people. Turns out I was wrong. It was 1.6 million people. It was part of a giant rock festival which was called Monsters of Rock, which had artists like Pantera, AC/DC, the Black Crowes, along with Metallica and other artists as part of this giant rock show in Russia. And Russia's been actually a part of some of the biggest live gatherings ever in terms of music shows, where an artist called Jean-Michel Jarre, I don't even know who that is, played at the State University of Moscow to 3.5 million people. There seems to be giant gatherings in Moscow for live performances. This one took place at Tushino Airfield, so there was a giant rock concert at Airfield, a metal concert at that, so I think it's pretty fitting. I've listened to Metallica live and as a studio band. I've thought they were brilliant as a studio band, and the energy and intensity came off in their live performance too. I watched them in '86, I believe, where Cliff was still a part of the band. But this is probably Metallica at the peak of their powers, when they're riding this giant wave of album sales. They probably know each other as a band really well too, so I can't wait to get into this one. Here we go. This is Metallica Master of Puppets, Moscow 1991.
Around here, we gotta get some noise off of you folks out here. So repeat after me. Hey! No good, man.
Damn.
Hey!
Imagine 1.6 million people shouting back at you.
Hey! Hey!
Hey!
Hey! Master of Puppets!
Here we go. Ah, that murderous riff. I like that it's got a black guitar that looks like an axe. I think it's pretty fitting. Oh, that riff is crazy. So one thing I learned about Hetfield's playing style, apparently he does down picks, which is not all that common. I guess there's good guitar players in the comments and stuff who always tell me about these different techniques, and apparently the pace at which he plays his down pick is really the impressive part of it. How he manages to keep up this kind of violent intensity is astonishing to musicians. So I guess it speaks to him as a musician. He must have been a brilliant musician to be able to shock other guitar players. Lars going off. Straight headbanging music. Yeah, look at his wrist. Howls like a wolf. One thing that I find really interesting is how Eastern Europe, that geography of people, really connected to metal music. Something about the angry intensity, the darkness of the music seems to speak to people there in particular. Now, of course, metal is a worldwide thing. People in Australia and stuff love it too, but something about metal music, man, I've seen a lot, like these giant metal sort of concerts happening in like Eastern Europe, places like Russia. So I don't know, there must be some connection between the nature and atmosphere of the music and how it speaks to the people there. And, you know, if you listen or read to any Russian literature, watch their films by Tarkovsky, you'll notice that there's a lot of darkness in their literature too, which I think is the connection, perhaps. I don't know, I'm not too sure. But I guess it's a release, a vent for them to get everything out in a healthy way. fucking music. Wow, he's even hitting those high notes too. Damn. He's got a kind of like a growl, a gnarl in his voice. It's really cool to see. It's still great live. It works live. I'll also say the more I learn about Hetfield and his sort of past and who he was as a kid, the more impressed I am about him. Like, he's a very multi-talented guy. I've heard he would create like would work on engine blocks, like he was a mechanic and stuff as a kid, young kid. He'd like be working on little projects for himself. He was a welder. He had all these different skills as a guy before getting into music. So pretty damn cool. He seems like a really intelligent guy. I watched him on the Rogan podcast too. Yeah, this is ridiculous, man. The intensity of this track is mad. Sadly, his voice is a little turned down in the mix. It could have been turned up a little bit. They look like they're having a blast.
Obey your master! Master! Master of puppets and warrior saints! Twisting your mind, smashing your fucking dreams! Blinded by me, can't see a thing! Just call my name without you scream! Master! Master! Just call my name without you scream! Master!
I love how one of the guys is wearing a Metallica shirt. That was awesome, man. It seemed like they're having a blast as well, performing in front of that many people. I think one of the coolest aspects of this show in general too is, and with all the tension that was in the 60s, the 50s, the Cold War stuff between Russia and America, that one of our greatest sort of bridging gaps that the West had with the East was music. It was music that helped connect the people together, which is awesome. Who would have thought that you'd have 1.6 million people get together and be so enthralled and in love with this band who come from America? I think that's one of the brilliant things about this performance and music in general. Dope performance, man. This is really the band at the height of their powers. The intensity is just unrivaled, unmatched. Really cool video, man.